TVC News, first with breaking news.
Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Today, let's look at the president. As you know, is out of town. He's out of the country. In fact, that was just a sort of a colloquialism. He's outside of the country attending the G20 summit in Brazil. They'll be talking about so many different things, and the president is in there. Trade, climate change, many other things. But first of all, let me quickly introduce our guest, Mukhtar Mohammed. Good morning to you. I always like to call him Doctor of Finance and Analysis of the Economy. But thank you very much, as always, for coming.
My pleasure, Uncle Yori.
Usually, this summit doesn't always, the G20 summit. First of all, it's of the leading economies of the world.
20 leading.
Yes, the 20 leading economies of the world. And there will be so much business that will be done on the sidelines.
Yeah.
You know, but that they're in there now, I think the most important thing at this particular summit, and here you give me your view, is to sort of get their house in order, all these 20 leading economies, before the advent of President-elect Trump, when he now is, for the second time, the president of arguably the world's leading economy.
Yeah.
And, you know, as you know, President Trump is a man who says it the way he likes, the way he wants to, the way he wants, he sees it. And I guess people are sort of trying to get in there and say, can we just understand the position before the advent of this very, very important member who will be taking over from President Biden, who we also have seen at the place yesterday.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. You see, for me, all these G20 summit or G7, you know, there's the G7, there's the G20.
It's like
there's the BRICS economy.
Yes.
A lot of all these are just pressure group as far as I'm concerned. And then what they do is to take African nations there, and African nation goes there like if they are begging for aid, come and do business with us, and that's the way I feel about all these G20 leading economy in the world. Out of that 20 leading economy in the world, there's no African nation that is there. Even that there was time that the OAU, Organization of African Union, AU now, at the time they were even Organization of African Union, OAU, and then they became AU, African Union, make themselves like a bloc and went to such meetings, G7, have their agenda, and then trade. Nothing comes from it. So sometimes for me, I just feel that it's more or less like a jamboree where we go there, we make all the noise, and at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. Like you just said now, no matter how they try to do it now, they have a president that is coming, a new president, which is the superpower and the leading economy in the world. He has his own agenda. And his agenda is clearly to everybody that knows. It's American first.
And it's going to affect whatever anybody else
Yeah, because
it's
not on the same wavelength with Biden in terms of trade policy. Remember, the Chinese are already shivering. He's already saying that he will hit more tariff. That was based upon his electoral campaign. So already whatever the Chinese are coming to as the second largest economy in the world, it will have another negative effect if President Trump comes in. So for me, I think maybe it's a way of sending for Biden to come in there and then let them do the send forth for him that he attended this meeting of the 20 leading economy, and then they will prepare very well for President Trump. It's going to be a different ball game entirely. I remember there are a lot of things that are going to be discussed in there, like you say, trade and climate. And when you look at trade and climate, these are things that Trump's personal views on this are contrary to what the whether the G20 or the G19, they are contrary. Even the EU, its trade policy and climate change policy. In short, in terms of climate change, he doesn't even believe in it.
Indeed. But how about international security? That's something that, they are facing. And our president, President Tinubu, as you know, spoke about the situation over Gaza and, just really contributing his own thoughts in there that we just have to find a solution. The killing cannot go on.
Well, again, Trump has a different view when it comes to Gaza. The Arab world knows that Trump's view is different. Remember, before this election, it was gotten from sources that Netanyahu prefer a Trump presidency than a Biden presidency. We mustn't forget what Trump was to the Middle East when he was president for the first time. He was at loggerhead with Iran. He was the one that pulled up the plug over the nuclear deal that was already in place, said America will not be part of it. Remember, President Trump was the one that moved the U.S. consulate to
Jerusalem,
which is what they call the occupied place, or where is actually what the Palestinians think should be the original capital of the free Palestine state. So when you look at it, in terms of terrorism, he always hears of the view that Hamas, a terrorist group, and Hezbollah, a terrorist group. So he wouldn't even want to negotiate with them. He have said it. And so there's a lot of
maybe, I don't know. Maybe we're prejudging, incoming President
If you watched, President Trump has been saying a lot since he came to power.
In terms of,
have been speaking. Have you seen him talk anything about what his policy direction will be in Gaza? He has not spoken anything. But when you look at his appointees, they are pointing to the fact that he's going to be a hardliner when it comes to Gaza issues.
Hawks more than doves.
Yeah, so everybody will have to say what they have to say, but there's going to be a new world shifting order, and I don't know how that will help the global economy. People are, the Trump economic policies, the Trump security policy, everything is different, and that is why I think the G20 maybe need to meet and begin to get their thoughts together, how they could, as a bloc, be able to fight one-man riot squad President Trump.
Well, I don't know about fighting, but at least getting their house in order so that he's, after all, I don't know, he's a Democrat. He was elected. Yes, he has always said uncompromisingly, America first. That's my agenda. Yeah. And nobody can really fault that.
No, nobody can fault that.
Nobody can fault that. So I imagine that the idea now is to show that they have their house in order, they have a certain kind of thinking, and, rather than be a one-man riot squad.
No. You see, when we talk about, let's talk about trade.
Okay, trade, for example.
Global commodity is oil. What is Trump's view on oil? He supports low oil price. He's going to make sure that more reserves in America are pumped into the American market. That will also reduce the demand for international crude price. That will drive down the price. That will make energy cheaper in America. And that's what the American people wanted. And that's what the American people voted him for. So when you look at that, that's already a challenge to a nation like Nigeria.
Indeed.
And you remember, before now, we could pride ourselves that America is no more our largest crude purchaser. But again, you look at the competition that will come in between that now, whereby there are some countries that normally give America crude. Those countries will also come back to some of the market that we are operating. That's why a little bit I'm excited that we've signed the agreement with the president, the prime minister of India, to make sure that we will supply crude to India in terms of, that is a game changer for us. I think that will help us, because that market is not going to be an easy market for us to begin to make money. And unfortunately, again, our totality of our economy is depending on the revenue from oil. So it's a big challenge. But again, in terms of security, I think a Trump presidency has favored Nigeria. Let's be sincere about it in terms of security. Remember, before Trump came in his first term, wanted to buy the fighter jet, and then the then President Barack Obama said they won't give it to us because of human rights abuse, a lot. But when President Trump came, he sold those jets for us to fight the terrorists. And today, we can pride that he really helped us to minimize the type of challenges that we're having in terms of security.
Yes.
So,
no matter
there's a little,
no matter some things that President Trump
when we
has
look
been
at
reported to have said about us in the past.
In the past, but you look at what he has really. That was what our greatest challenge at that time. And so we should understand, and then you should know that Trump is a president that thinks about the people of America, what is good for America, not what is good for the world. The former president of America will look at the war to say America is a war police. Trump is saying, no, I don't want America to be the war police. Remember also there was a time that the visa fee in Nigeria was, the visa fee that the Americans pay was higher than what the Nigerians pay. And Trump said, no, America pay higher fee to come to Nigeria, Nigeria pay lower fee to go to America. And Trump said, no, that cannot.
We've got to equalize things.
He said, we are going to do it. And he hiked his own to meet our own. He said, unless we come to level. So when you look at it, he has always, his economic policy has always been for the people of America. And
in that regard, you just reminded me, he has been saying that he's going to be adjusting tariffs between here and Japan, here and China.
That is going to be a big challenge. It's going to be a big challenge.
Let us know, please, I'll hold that point and we'll come back to it. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Okay, thank you for calling.
Good morning to Mr. Mukhtar.
Yes.
Good morning.
President Tinubu in Brazil.
Yes. Uncle Yori, I will candidly advise my president that we should begin to look inwards. Because he has already drawn international attention to Nigeria. We know the amount of foreign investment he has attracted. But we have to first look at domesticating those things to bring economic beneficial effects to the people. That has not started happening. It's not yet cascading to the ordinary man in the street. The cost of living is just too high. The policies that the IMF is dictating, IMF themselves are now saying that they need to be reviewed. IMF themselves are now saying that those policies need to be reviewed. We need to look at the local economics and let the people be happy first. I don't care about Donald Trump. Americans are very gullible. They voted a convicted criminal. He told them exactly what he was coming to do. They were clearly spelled out in a document called Project 2025. He does not mince words. So, looking at the appointments he's making, you can see the kind of criminals that he's appointing.
Oh dear.
You don't expect a person that has no character to appoint people that have characters. Okay. That is going to cascade into the international politics, whether we like it or not.
All right.
He does not believe in civility at the international level. He is a racist to the core, and he does not even value the societal values of other countries.
Well,
and that is the person that's going to be dictating what or who is doing the world today.
Okay.
You can see what Mukhtar is saying about all the world policies of many world bodies that have been keeping the world going. He doesn't believe in climate change. He doesn't believe in any other person except himself. He's just saying America. He's invariably talking about himself. In America, anybody that doesn't support him, to him, is not an American.
All right.
Let's leave Trump out of our business and let my president come back a little home and address. I don't want to see $1 exchanging for 1,800 naira. That needs to be looked into.
Indeed.
It takes me 150,000 naira to fill the tank of the car I drive if I want to travel. Yeah. That is not acceptable.
All right then.
Well, we are here.
Thank you very much.
The things you buy 20 naira from 3 months ago is now 150 naira. We have to look into all that. Some people are afraid to put on lights in their homes.
Yes.
Somebody came to your studio that day and was promoting that they should put off lights when they're inside their home so that they don't see. As a remedy.
Well, thank you very much for calling in,
Mr. George. Who are his enemies are
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Oh dear, I'm sure.
Yeah, I want to react to something.
Well, and then any diplomats were listening to this would have been catching their breath now and again. You know, called the American president-elect convicted criminal. Yeah, he was convicted. That is there. But it is.
What this thing I've told. I mean, if you look at the American election, I told a friend that what he has told me, what it has made me to understand is that politicians are the same anywhere in the world, and it's just that sometimes you tend to look at your own as bad as the worst in terms of. If you look at President Trump with the kind of baggages, you know, if it was not in America, maybe it was happening in a country like Nigeria, you have such person that's going for presidency. We Nigerians will be shouting, such a thing cannot happen in a country like America, such a thing cannot happen in a country. But here we are seeing it that politics sometimes is about the people, about what the people want. I think that's what our leaders should realize from the election of Trump. Trump was not elected because he is the best candidate. He's elected because of his economic policy that he brought to them. They felt they were better off during Trump economic policy than what Biden brought to them. And so it's unfortunate that towards the end of Biden economic policy, the economic policy seems to be picking up. When you talk about Project 25, President Trump has denied he's not part of Project 25. I mean, he has denied that. But again, you need to look at what he's talking about attracting investment. We need to ask ourselves how much investment have we attracted in our country. If you look at the data that came in from the stock exchange in the month of September, it made us understand that a lot of investors, foreign investors, are even exiting our market than coming in. So we need to look at that. So when you are going to a summit like G20 or G7, or what product are you going to sell to them?
Well, he has the Minister of Agriculture in there, so
that's what I'm saying. What product are we selling?
Okay, so
this is the time we need to have a product that we are selling. We cannot just sell a product that come to our country. We are doing reforms, and they will look at how much of your reform benefited your people. So for us to even come in there, the purchasing power of the average Nigerian is low, like he said. So again, by the day you see those foreign investment coming in, and yet the government said, oh, we have capital importation. It was higher than last year. But you forget to let us know that last year the exchange rate was less than that. So what we are seeing now, we are seeing few inflow. But again, because of the exchange rate, when it comes in dollar, we pride ourselves that we have made so much money. No, we have not made so much money.
We're still in very difficult
We are very, look at our borrowing. We are going to be borrowing about 41 trillion for projects.
Prince in Abuja, good morning to you. Good morning, Prince.
Yes, good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to your guest.
Thank you for calling in, sir. Go ahead, please.
Thanks for having me on this conversation.
Your thoughts, the president in Brazil.
The existing discussions people are having.
Yes, okay.
I think our leaders need to be very intentional in some of their traveling, some of these meetings, some of these conferences that we go to. Now, we know the president has gone for the G20 meeting. But the questions that the citizen is asking are, what are the statistics that our president is aiming to achieve from this meeting? We should have a situation where we are saying, okay, we are leveraging on this meeting to be able to drive in investors, or we need military support to be able to tackle insecurity that we're facing at the moment. So to have this thing clearly set out by the media aid of the president that will put forth to us as Nigerians to know what we stand to gain from such meetings that he has gone for it. And when we are not strategic on these meetings, we should be able to measure in terms of, okay, this meeting that we've gone for this meeting, we're back to the country, there is the feedback or the rollout from this meeting as to how it can benefit us as a country. Then when we have that as this information, citizens will begin to appreciate some of these meetings. But when we go there like a participant and come back without having any tangible thing to show as the returns or the profit that we've made from such journey, then let's say that we are just not there yet. So we should have a specific that we tend to achieve in all of these meetings, not just being a spectator or probably being a guest on these meetings as it comes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Prince, for calling in. I guess what Prince was saying there, it It affects all, African countries, because there are other countries there. We're talking about the G20 summit, the leading 20 economies, and South Africa is in there. A lot of these people are in there. But as Prince is saying, what is the benefit to Nigeria is what most people will be saying. And most people in Nigeria are concerned right now with putting something in their stomach. Never mind 3 square meals. Putting something in their stomach has become increasingly harder than it used to be. And that is what people are saying, that, look, you're going over there. First of all, we are there. Nigeria is in the Committee of Nations. Yes, I think that's a very important one. That
and we're invited.
So
we're invited,
and you won't just be inviting people
because again, we are the biggest economy in Africa.
Indeed. So the potential is huge.
It's huge.
It's huge. But we still have our challenges.
Like I said, what product? Like he said, what are we going to sell? What are we telling them that we have for them to come and buy? Outside of crude, we've talked so much about crude. Is that all that we have? We've talked so much about crude. So is that all that we have?
We're still talking
about crude.
And so, I'm not sure. And now
crude is not bringing so much inflow to us again because of in terms of the security challenge in Niger Delta, oil theft, and all of that. In part of what the president is going to go and discuss with the G20, that look, you stop buying crude that are thieved. That are stolen from Nigeria, then again that could be something that we are looking at. We're talking about security in the high sea, and which American has really been one of those people that have been trying to defend a lot of all these ships, especially being attacked
by high seas piracies.
So we can look at that and say, fine, is that what we are going to discuss? Because that also have affected our production. That is one. Then if you talk about agriculture, what are we going to discuss? What type of wisdom?
Well,
who are those that who are those that are the entourage of the president? I don't have a clear picture of who are in the entourage of the president. Normally when the president travels like this, he goes with some state governors, he goes with some ministers. By and by that, we begin to know what are our goals in going to G20 meeting.
But you people will say that too many people are going, and so
it's not about the too. That's why we must be strategic. We must be intentional about that. What he's saying. If we are going for that meeting, what are we going to? What are we planning to achieve? You can't be going with 20 ministers. You think you achieve. What is our goal? Is it in the area of agriculture? Is it in the area of security? Is it in the area of oil and gas? What are we going to achieve when we are going there? That is a very big question we must always ask ourselves. And this question can only be answered when we look at the entourage that are following the president. Like you said, there will be meetings in the side. And again, on the sideline. And when you are going to such a meeting, we've realized that these days, before now, you see countries are doing business with countries. But these days, we are beginning to see countries are doing business with companies. It's not more or less so much about country to country. It's about countries and companies. So which of these companies are we going to target? And if you are going to discuss with companies, who are the private sector investors that are along with the president, that went along with the president on this visit? If you look at the developed economy, some of these developing economy or the developed economy, when they are going for meetings like this, G20, G7, you realize that most of their delegates are always private sectors, people that are going to discuss with other of the ministers on how they can come and do business in those countries. But in our own case, when you see those that are going, they are politicians. So we need to begin to think differently. We need to begin to do things differently. You don't go there, the politician goes there and sign an MOU with a company that is coming to do business in Nigeria. And you sign everything, almost signing up the everything that was supposed to go to the Nigerian company in the hands of that company, and the Nigerian company become cap in hand begging that company. That's not, you need to go with, if you are looking at oil, if you are looking at crude oil, if you are looking at, there's no how that Anligo Dangote should not be among going to that meeting, because now he has the largest refinery. We are not having enough crude. China is one of our biggest buyer of our crude. Now, what will happen we will begin to see the narrative change. Do we begin to see, because now, like you say, the narrative is going to change. Chinese are going to devalue their currency. And Trump is going to hike tariff. So he wants to make sure that American goods are able to compete favorably with the Chinese market.
Yes.
In all of this, where are we? Where is Nigeria?
It goes back to what you've always been saying, that we don't have anything to sell.
Yeah. So where are we?
People have been talking about manufacturing.
What is manufacturing? What are we? Do you create the environment? If you go to that meeting, Japan will be there. The Prime Minister of Japan will be there. I'm sure he's coming up with some of the group of Toyota. If you go there and you have a meeting with Toyota, you say, Toyota, we are one of the largest market in Africa for your product. And they said, yeah, we want to come. But you know our challenge? Power.
And why do we have that power challenge? That's a totally different story.
So is the Japan, are you going there now saying, okay, we are going with our Jinkos and our Discos to go there and talk to some big companies that will now come and invest, because we are realizing that the challenge they have is because their equipment are obsolete. So these are the intentionality of government when you know your problem. Now, remember that sometimes when you want to go with this private sector, it's cheaper for you, because you won't be sponsoring them. You'll be telling them that, look, I'm just taking you along there to make a business deal, to bring in more business for your company and in turn employ more Nigerians to your advantage. But when you are going with politicians, all they are thinking about is the Ester code, the hotels they will stay and what they will make. So we need to begin to change the narrative when it comes to going for economic meetings. Economics meetings are not political meetings. It's not the U.S. General Assembly that we are going to talk politics. We are going to 20 industrialized economy, 20 of the biggest economy in the world. What are we taking to that economy? Is it the president and his politicians that are going there? Which of the businessmen is the chairman of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria on that entourage? Is it there? What are the 5 biggest companies in manufacturing in Nigeria? Are they among the president entourage? What of the power companies? Are they among the president entourage? So we begin to, you see situation sometimes. What happens? You see this G20, they invite our leaders. Then they also invite our businessmen. Differently from our leaders. And both of them are going to the same place. They're only going to meet there.
From within the same country?
Within the same countries. I'll give you an example. When President Buhari came to power, remember when he was going to the to the US, when he assumed office, he went with politicians. So much politicians, they went there, they made all the noise, the country's going to be different, we are coming to fight corruption, and he came back. That was during Barack Obama. When Barack Obama was going to Kenya, the Kenyan president was inviting Aliko Dangote, Antonio Elumino, to be part of his entourage that would discuss with Barack Obama in terms of trade. So you can see the thinking. If you are having business here, you are the people that can discuss. Because government is all about creating the enabling environment for business to strive. Government is never good at doing business. So we should also know that when you are going for an economic meeting like this as a president, like I was saying, is to tell them what your reforms are going to do, what your reforms are going to help achieve, and the companies will begin to look at, okay, we are going to benefit from this reform, but we need a company on ground. Not when the president goes to a place and is making a deliberation with me. I said, if anybody wants to collect money from you, you let me know.
Yeah.
It's not that's not presidential. You should be discussing with the companies. And I'm sure the companies will be looking at the win-win for themselves. They will not be saying, give me money or this. But because you are going with politicians, because they are going to pass through the political, the administrative bottlenecks, because those are the ones that signed the agreement. Those are the ones that will say, this agreement we sign, no, it will not go. We need to do something. Then you are talking about being corrupt.
Well, let's take a break. Clearly, you don't think very much about this summit as far as we are concerned.
It has never helped us.
The concerns.
The concern has always been there. Where is African going?
Since they're there on behalf of Nigeria, the concerns of Nigerians, you are saying don't really align.
No, it doesn't, because we are looking for aid. Who has aid help? Today, yesterday, I mean, during the week, you hear IMF saying, we are not part of your economy policy, but we think you should harden it more, but they are not part of it.
Okay, stay with us, please. We'll be right back.